So it looks like Ashes of Creation is finally having some player drop-off, which is pretty impressive because there have been a large group of people that have been playing this game non-stop since October. And we have to keep in mind, guys, this is a video game alpha test that people have been playing the absolute hell out of. It's actually insane how much people have been playing this game, myself included. I've been playing since October, and this is the only game I play. It's still the only game I play and will continue to most likely be the only game I play unless the servers are down. But I've been playing this game differently than a lot of my peers, and that is that I have been playing with an element of cruise control. I have been intentionally kind of taking it slow, not going super hard in the paint. I'm not one of these people that's got 500 plus physical or magic power, even though I could be. Maybe. I'm not somebody that's leveled up to 25 in 2 days with multiple level 25s. I have been intentionally taking it slow and enjoying myself and pacing myself, not trying to go. If the speed limit's 55, I'm going 62. Some of the people in my guild are going 180. Like, it's actually crazy how hard people are playing this game. And also, you got to keep in mind, this is an alpha video game test. Not all of the core systems are in. People are going to jump in and check it out, see where the game's at, and then be like, okay, cool. I'm going to come back and check it out later. Throughout this test, there's going to be new players hop in, old players jump out. You're going to have the Locust-style players that play for 12 hours a day and consume everything. Then you're going to have the group of players like myself who just play consistently throughout, and we don't really speed up or slow down. The player drop-off happening right now is not surprising at all. In fact, the only thing that is surprising is that it didn't happen sooner. The fact that we have been playing this game as much as we have since October is actually crazy. In fact, I actually talked to a few Intrepid employees, and they're kind of blown away by the fact that people are playing this alpha video game test as much as they are. On the virus server, there are multiple guilds full of people that have been playing this game as no-lifing the game since October. And finally, as of this last week, people are starting to play a little less. And they're not stopping playing for the most part. They're just playing a little less. And that's kind of crazy. Now, the reason I say it's surprising that people are playing as much as they are is first of all, this is a prediction I made that I was actually a little bit wrong about. And that is that in one of my previous videos, I predicted a player fall off to happen much earlier than this. And I think Intrepid did as well. Because if you go back, remember at the start of, before Phase 2 even started, they were going to have one realm. And people were like, one realm? That is crazy. You want to know why they wanted to have one realm? Because they knew the player drop-off was going to happen. Yeah, the one realm was going to be crowded as hell the first week or two, but they knew the player drop-off was coming. Luckily, they didn't just go with one realm because the amount of player drop-off was probably a lot less than they were expecting. And they went with 2 US realms. And even 2 US realms was crazy for, honestly, months. So, if anything is surprising about this player drop-off, it's that it didn't happen sooner, because we've had these realms have been popping for the longest time, and I think we're probably going to have a few weeks of a little bit of a lull period. But dude, as soon as the rogue hits, it's all back to crazy town all over again, and honestly, maybe even worse than it was in the past. So why are people playing Ashes of Creation less? Well, from the perspective of an in-game PvP player, the number one thing that I see that's kind of making people just take a little bit of a step back from the game and just not take it super seriously is the time to kill. The time to kill problem is just getting worse and worse and worse as the days go on, as people get more and more gear. The problem will get worse before it gets better. This is something they are going to address. It's confirmed this is being fixed. They are nerfing the enchanting. They might be doing some other things. They might be buffing defensive stats. They have known the time to kill was a problem for a long time, and it's just something that just isn't fixed yet. So a lot of your PvP replayability is getting hamstrung by the fact that the PvP is just silly as hell at high gear levels right now, and more players are getting to that high gear level. And speaking of gear levels, another reason people are playing less is that we're all still in level 10 gear. And yes, that does make the PvP silly with this, plus 10, plus 8, level 10 enchanted gear. But The other ramification of that is that people are not engaging with the dungeons. Nobody cares about Carfen. Nobody cares about the Forge, really, except for a few things. Nobody really cares about the pocket dungeons. The level 20 gear just isn't relevant because of the way enchanting is and because of how powerful some of these level 10 pieces are. We're just not really engaging with a lot of the new content that is in the game. A lot of this desert stuff, nobody cares because it's not better than the juiced up level 10 gear. And so we're just not really engaging with a lot of the game because of the power of the level 10 gear. Next reason people are taking a break from the game, and that is the big one, in my opinion, is that the Rogue is not released. There are a lot of people that want to try the Rogue out, and the Rogue classes in general are kind of one of those classes that everybody thinks they're going to be, the king shit Rogue. So like, why should I even bother to play the game right now when I'm going to be the best Rogue in the game? Yeah, so a lot of people have that mindset where they're like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to save the gas in my tank for when the Rogue comes out. A lot of these people are going to come in, they're going to play the Rogue, they're probably going to be bad, then they're going to go back to their other class. But for right now, it's almost like waiting for Christmas. Like you're just sitting there and nothing else matters until Christmas. But when the Rogue comes out, a lot of these people will jump on the Rogue, play the Rogue, probably not stay on the Rogue, but they'll come back to the game and they'll check it out again. So a lot of people are sort of waiting for that critical break point of Rogue coming out. Next thing, and probably the biggest core issue with like the content element of the game, and that is that there's not a lot of compelling, repeatable in-game loops. And that would be caravans, kind of lame right now, and the wars are kind of lame. The amount of replayability you are going to be getting from wars and just PvP churn is kind of the engine of the game. Resources being destroyed is largely going to come from wars, and the big loop of the game is getting resources and destroying resources through PvP. The PvP is the engine that keeps everything rolling. Even if you don't participate in PvP directly, you still sort of do because you are crafting items that will inevitably get destroyed and through PvP means. And with the wars just being stupid, like TDM hide and seek matches, it's just dumb. They're just dumb. So when we get more repeatable in-game loops that are compelling, obviously that's going to matter a lot at the full release of the game. It's just not in the game yet. Next up, and this is one that's becoming more and more of a problem as people figure it out, and that is the static gathering nodes. Now, the static gathering nodes have always been a thing, but people just didn't really know, and people weren't gaming it to the same degree they are now. Where the static, if you know, the gathering in the game is silly as hell right now, and that's taking a lot of the fun out of the econ element of the game. A lot of the crafters and gatherer type players, a lot of the people that really they just like to get a lot of gold. That's just the way they like to play these games. It's just not compelling with the static gathering nodes. And it's getting crazy with alts. And at this point, with the way gathering is, if there is a low-level person in the PvP zone, you literally have to kill them or you are throwing, because a lot of people are using low-level characters to farm static timers in the PvP zone. And they do it because they know that PvPers, some of us, have like an honor code. And you're like, I'm not going to kill this level 5. Well, guess what? I've started killing some of those level 5s, and they are juiced with legendary items because they just have a bunch of level 5 alts. They park in the PvP zone, and they just sort of hope that you're a nice PvPer who's not going to kill the helpless level 5. But guess what? That helpless level 5 is stealing all your shit. So, sorry, dude. If you're in the lawless zone, you're dead. Like, you're level 1. I don't care. I don't care because there's so many little rats out there doing that shit. So, yeah, sorry. So those are the core reasons, in my opinion, why you're seeing some player drop off. But the thing of it is that I don't think this is a problem. In fact, this is going to be something that continually repeats itself throughout development, because with the way video game development is, it's not linear. In that a lot of these systems, with the way, I guess, software in general gets developed, they get like 95% done, and you're just waiting on that extra 5%. Whether it's some engineering change or some little tiny thing that is holding up the entire pipeline, and once that thing hits, it's like boom, big patch, a lot of content. But what ends up happening is you get these big bursts of progress, and then nothing happens for a while. So what's going to happen is we're going to get the Rogue, we're going to get some shiny new toys, some new desert stuff, maybe some new tropic stuff, and we're going to be happy for a while. And then we're going to have another dead period where we're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and it seems like nothing is happening, but what's actually happening is there's a lot of stuff being built to 95%, and you're waiting on, engineering to, fix some little doodad so it can actually get hooked up. And that's just how it is with games being developed. When the full game is released and they have like the content pipeline fleshed out and all of the tools are built, then you don't really have this long waiting period. But there's a reason why the Summoner is going to be the last class and it's going to take forever to make, and that's because there's a lot of other little things that have to be built for the Summoner to work. However, with all that being said, I still think Ashes of Creation has a ton of content in it right now. I think your medium player still has plenty to do. I know that my YouTube channel skews hardcore, so there's going to be some people in the comments that are like, I've been best in slot, level 10 gear, all +8, +10 for a month now. Where's my content? Guys, you guys are crazy. How many thousands of hours have you played this game? Like, you could quit for 3 weeks right now and not play at all, and your play time would still be much higher than the medium player who never took a break. Like, Jesus, guys, you gotta chill a little bit. And that brings me to my main point, and that is the hardcore echo chamber. And this is the thing I really want to drive home. If you are in a guild like Envious Polar, Barcode Purple, Nova Ortum, if you're in one of these guilds and you're sitting there complaining about how XYZ game system is kind of a pain in the ass for you, or you wish this was a thing, the nicest way I can tell this to you is that you just don't matter. Like, you just don't matter in the way that you think you do. I have seen people in my own guild complaining that the game is boring because they basically have done everything and they have thousands of hours played, and it's just, I can't believe the game is like this. It's, guys, you play the game in a way that really like no one else does. Like, you're an addict. You are a fucking locust content eating machine, and the game in no way could the game ever be sustainable to cater to a player like you. You are an MMO content eating machine. It's just not realistic to appeal to you. And here's the thing, dude, you're not going anywhere. Oh, I'm gonna stop playing until what? Like, dude, they got your $110. You've put thousands of hours into the game, and the millisecond the fucking rogue comes out, or some PvP in-game loops come out, or even just something that changes the meta of PvP, they'll be right back. They'll come right back and put in another 1,000 hours. So there definitely are some hardcore drama queens that are just gonna pretend like they're not gonna go buy some drugs from the drug dealer, which is this MMORPG. Oh, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Like, no, you're not. Dude, no, you're not. You are a fucking addict. Shut up. The real people you gotta worry about are the casual players, the less invested players, the people that sort of dabble with MMOs, and the lower skilled players. The players that, it's just gonna sound mean, but like your NPC players. You know, when you walk into a town and there's all these people and like none of them fucking matter, but they are real players. Those people, those people are so important. You have to keep these people engaged. And it's difficult because for a game like Ashes of Creation, if you're in one of the big dick swinging guilds and you own a node or you can control a node, you have like some, you are in a group of players, or you have enough individual skill that you can like move the needle a little bit. It's easy for you to stay engaged. You have fun with that. I log in and kill people in the desert, and I've been doing that for fucking months. Like, that's just what I do. I'm just that guy. I'm the desert bandit. People like to make that meme. But that's just what I do. But if you're not that guy, or if you're just not in a guild that is a needle mover in any real way, it's hard to keep those kind of people engaged. How do you keep your dad gamer who plays, here and there, a few hours, here and there, and not really in a very focused way? How do you keep him engaged with the game systems? And I know some people are like, oh, this is not the game for them. But you need to at least have people like that still wanting to play. Those are the people I'm worried about. How do you keep those people engaged in what's happening in the world? How do you get them caring about nodes? How do you get, the casual guild? How do you keep them hooked in, right? If you're a hardcore guild like Envious or Polar, and it's like, oh, we're battling for Miralith, or it's easy to keep those people hooked. They got a mission. But how do you keep the ones that don't? How do you keep them hooked, right? So that's going to be the biggest struggle with Ashes. The hardcore guys, dude, they're not going anywhere. They're not going. What are you going to go play fucking New World? Shut up. Dude, shut the fuck up. You are not going to go play New World. In conclusion, Ashes of Creation is probably going to be a little bit unexciting for the next few weeks until we get the big Rogue update with new content to the desert. But I fully expect that when the Rogue hits, there's going to be a whole lot of people checking that out. A whole lot of terrible rogues. It should be amusing. I am somebody that really likes, classes and class mechanics and really like figuring out the nitty-gritty things. So I will be endlessly entertained. In fact, I'm still sort of just testing all that stuff right now. But I am really looking forward to checking that out. And I fully expect to be making another video like this in like 6 months, because we're going to have another period where we're going to not have any content for a while, because again, it just doesn't come out in a linear fashion, especially as video games are being developed. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have a good one.